guys, today I have a really special video for you guys. I have a full sit-down racing cabinet machine I've always wanted in my collection, and today it's coming from you from Retro Lizards Arcades, which is who I got this from, in collaboration also with Buy Stuff Store Canada, which I'm really excited to talk about the dynamic between the build from Buy Stuff Store Canada, which is going to be coming soon, and also from Retro Lizards Arcade with the build that he has on here and the games and all that stuff. So we're going to be talking about that all today, showing you guys the cabinet and all that stuff, and what I think about all this, and if it's right for you. Let's go ahead and get into the video.
Gaming tech, eating brekkie is the gaming tech. Going for a recce is the gaming tech. Gaming techie is the gaming tech. Gaming techie.
Alright guys, so the first thing I want to show you is the overall build itself. So, overall, I gotta say I'm really happy with the build quality of this thing. Sorry about the light there. The marquee keeps going to white based on my lighting, but you can see how it looks there. Looks really good. They do have other options besides Mario Kart. Mario Kart is what fit my arcade because it's sitting right next to my retro machines and stuff like that. So it's not in my arcade room that you guys are used to seeing on this channel. It doesn't fit in there. So of course I had it in here and it looks fantastic. Look at that Mario Kart sign. It comes all lit up. Everything comes with it. You don't have to buy the lights or do anything with the lights. It was all ready to go. And here is the side artwork. We'll talk about that first. Obviously, I can't show you the whole entire thing because unfortunately some of it is blocked, but you get some good ideas here. You can see how that side artwork looks like. Like I said, and they do have other options as well. They have Daytona as well and a Red Bulls theme as well. So they do have other options, but Mario Kart is the one I went with. Here's the bottom piece. There's the Mario Kart there on that side. And on this side. Hopping on over to the other side here, Mario Kart on this side, and there's the pedestal there on that side. So really happy with the artwork, and then it looks fantastic from the front too. I mean, look at the artwork that you have here in the front where the TV monitor goes. You can see all the fantastic art that goes on there from Mario Kart. I think they did a really good job of how that actually looks like. Looks really good. Love with the way that came out. So artwork and the build quality of this thing feels fantastic. This is really solid, wood and everything like that. It doesn't feel anything like arcade 1-up or stuff like that we're used to. This is a really high premium wood that they're using. It's really good. It seems like it's going to hold up for a long time, which I'm really excited about. And like I said, they did a fantastic job with the artwork. Moving on down to the actual seat itself. This is the seat that we have going on. So when you buy this cabinet here, when they start selling this separately from Buy Stuff Store Canada, they're going to be selling the shell of this with the own artwork right now. So you can see the shell. It's going to be this right here with the bottom pedestal on here, and then you can mount, whatever wheel you want and stuff like that. And then the chair, it doesn't come with the chair. The bottom portion just comes with it, and you do it as you fit. It's meant to be a cabinet that you make for your own. However, that's how Buy Stuff Store is going to be selling it later. But right now, the way you can get this machine right now, because it's not available through Buy Stuff Store yet, as far as getting these pieces separately with nothing else included. But right now, they have a partnership here with Retro Lizards Arcades, which I've actually done some videos on in the past before with my gun cabinet that he did a fantastic job with. When you get it through him, he has a partnership with Buy Stuff Store where he does everything for you, and that's exactly what I got here. So it came built. I didn't have to build anything. It came to my house just like this. Everything was already pre-built. The chair was selected by him, and it fits great. It really works well, really comfortable. Love the seat. Everything was already ready to go. You can see the artwork that Buy Stuff Store did on the seat there as well. And let's show the back here for a second. There's the back of it as well. So it looks really good from all sides here, and really happy that with Retro Lizards Arcade everything was ready to go. Obviously it came with the wheel. I did get the upgraded wheel. He offers two options. This is the TMX wheel from Thrustmaster that actually has force feedback support, which to me, in my opinion, is a must. You do with that as you will, but I think it's a must in a racing build. So I got that, and then it comes with the Logitech shifter, as you can see there on the side. So I have that, and then of course the pedals go right underneath. And of course you get Retro Lizards Arcade's racing build on a PC. The PC is sitting back there. Everything is ready to go. You plug it in. There's a couple of configurations that you need to do that are really easy that he walks you through if you need and have any issues. And then you're basically ready to go with the build. And this is exactly what's... I'll be going into the build here in a minute, but this is the build running, of course, on it when everything is set up and ready to go. So like I said, the overall build quality of this thing feels fantastic. It feels like it's going to hold up really, really long. So Buy Stuff Store definitely has a winner when it comes to selling these cabinets separately, where everybody can kind of make their own racing cabinet, and it looks like an arcade machine, and it looks really good. Fantastic artwork, fantastic job with all that stuff. I'm really, really happy with it. And then with combination with Retro Lizards, if you guys get it from him, which I highly recommend, you don't have to do anything, because then this comes already done, and you don't have to worry about building it or anything like that, because obviously Buy Stuff Store is going to be selling it, you know, where you have to build it, kind of like IKEA furniture style kind of thing, but much better quality than IKEA, of course. But it's going to be that similar idea. With Retro Lizards, everything was built, everything came ready to go, and everything was ready for you. PC was ready to go with the games already on there. You don't have to do any of that. Everything was set up through Big Box that you can see here in Launchbox, and it's mostly just plug and play at that point. So really, really happy. Let's go ahead and go into the build here of what you guys can expect on this racing cab. All right, so here we are with the racing build here. You can see the wheel here. Like I said, this is a TMX force feedback from Thrustmaster. I'm really, really happy with this wheel. Granted, I'm not like a racing aficionado or anything like that. I just wanted a really good wheel that had force feedback that works with an arcade build. This is primarily from an arcade build when you get it from Retro Lizards Arcade. He does have a couple of games that we're going to talk about that go into you know, playing not arcade games, but actual games on PC, which you can do, and I'll show you some of the ones I've already added actually in a different video. But the wheel feels fantastic. I love it. It mounts on here really easily. Of course, you can see how it mounts. It's just a bracket that goes like this and attaches to the table. Same thing with the Logitech shifter here that I have on the side, and then of course the gas and brake there at the bottom, and everything works really, really well. No issues with room, as you guys can see here with leg room. I have my feet down there. I don't think you guys can see it in the video, but I have no issues with leg room. I'm 6 feet tall. Everything works really well. The seat is really comfortable, like I mentioned. I have no issues worrying about the seat. As far as, you know, using the seat as an adult person, really, really happy with it, and how everything came out. So, speaking of the build, like I said, once you get this set up, you contact Retro Lizards Arcades once you have everything hooked up with the PC, and it's basically everything is just plug and play. There's a couple of settings that you have to adjust that he tells you about, and he can help you if he needs to, and everything else is kind of set up and ready to go, so it's a really quick and easy process. So while you're on the main menu here, you can see that there are some categories. So I started on arcade. You can see arcade is here, and you kind of move over. There's N64, there's Asmowave, there's Metal 2, Model 3, Naomi, Teknoparrot, Triforce, and then Windows back again. So just for the sake of it, let's go ahead and say we are looking at Teknoparrot here to start off, to show you some of the games that this thing comes with. If I hit start on here, these are all games that you guys have ready to go if you get this from Retro Lizards Arcade. So you have Outrun 2, you have R-Tune, you have Sega Racing TV, Sega Racing Classic, Sega Rally 3, Sonic All-Star Racing Transform, Storm Racer G, Valve Limit, Wacky Races, Midnight Maximum 5, Snowcross, Batman. Batman is so much fun, by the way. Battle Gear 4, Daytona Championship, Dirty Driving. You have Cars. Dirty Driving is another one of my favorites. Fast and Furious, Supercars, Fast and Furious, the regular one, Fast and Furious Drift, Ford Racing, Grid, GTI Club, H2 Overdrive, and then you have all the initial D ones over here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then you have Mario Kart Arcade GP DX, then you have Nicktoons Nitro, Outrun 2, R-Tunes, Sega Racing TV, and back to the beginning again. So, like I said, those are all the ones that come with Teknoparrot that you have on here to play. Going back from there, if we go to Triforce, you have Mario Kart 2. So you got that one sitting in there for you. Going to Windows. We'll come back to Windows at the end. Then we have Arcade. Now, I'm not going to go through every single one because there's a lot in here. But you can see you have all the ones you would expect. Cruisin' USA, Cruisin'. All the main ones are on here. All of that is kind of set to go on here. Off-road. You know, the original Outrun, Pole Position, Ridge Racer 2. And a lot of these games all have force feedback support that he set up with MAME, which is fantastic. Super Monaco GP, Wacky Races, ABC Cop. You know, all the good ones are on here. All the ones that you would expect are on here to play from MAME. Scrolling on over to N64, we do have a few on here for N64 as well. We have Cruisin' Exotica, we have Hydro Thunder, Mario Kart 64, and Rush 2049. Then over here we have Asmo Wave, so if we click on this one here, you can see we have Faster Than Speed and Maximum Speed. Then we have Sega Model 2, Indy 500, Max Superbike, Moto Racer, Sega Rally, Super G, Sega Tour, Sega Water Ski, Daytona, Wave Runner. So you got all those on there. Then you have your Model 3 games. You have Dirt Devils, Daytona 2. Both versions. You have Sega Rally 2. You have Harley Davidson Motorcycle. Then we have Naomi. So you got your Crazy Taxi and your 18-wheeler. And then, of course, back to Teknoparrot that we talked about before. So those are all the games that come on here. And then you do have a couple more, but ignore the ones that I have. I will tell you which ones he has on here, because some of these I added myself. These are from my Steam library and stuff like that. Like, for example, Dirt 5 is something that I added from my from my Steam library and stuff like that. So those are not something that's coming from him. However, I can tell you which ones did, and those were Project Cars 3. So that one comes from him on here, so you can see that that is all set up and ready to go. And he does have a couple others on here as well for PC racing games that you'll probably get with your build. The rest of those games I added myself, so expect like somewhere, at least right now, somewhere between 2 to 4 games that are Windows platforms that will come on your drive from Retro Lizards Arcade. So really, really fantastic to have those on here and be able to play some of the more heavy-duty PC games on here. So that is all the games on here. I believe there's 130 or 140 games. I forget the exact count, but there's a lot of different racing games that you can play on here. The Teknoparrot are definitely my favorite ones. Now, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about on here that I don't think a lot of people talk about when it comes to different programs and stuff. So I'm going to actually exit Big Box here for a second, and we will close this out here. And this is what I want to talk about. So when I got this Retro Lizards Arcade machine, it was really easy to configure because it uses a program called X Output, right? And X Output basically means that your computer recognizes this controller here, and your shifter is basically an Xbox controller, which is what you're looking at here. Now you're thinking, why is that important? Well, for 2 reasons for him. So when he sets this up, he basically just has to do this once, because all his emulators are already set up for Xbox controllers. Makes it really easy for him. And then he just has to configure the controllers in this one application, and then it works across all emulators. So something for you guys to think about if you guys are doing your own builds. But what really sets this apart for me that I don't think a lot of people talk about, that makes me excited about the fact that this is now recognizing everything as an Xbox controller, is I'm actually going to open up the Launchbox build really quickly on this machine so I can go more specifically into the games that I personally installed. Again, to be clear, these did not come from Retro Lizards Arcade. This is what came after. These are the games that I added for my Steam account that I actually owned and wanted to add to this build. So these are different, but you can, of course, do this yourself and add them in there. So these are my Windows PC games. And like I mentioned, first of all, I'm going to be adding a bunch more. I'm just waiting for my external hard drive to get here because I wanted more space. Like I said, Project Cars 3 is something that comes on here. I believe Assetto Corsa is something else that he has on here. But the rest of them are from my account. However, you're probably seeing some of these games and you're wondering, like, hey, some of these games don't have wheel support. How are you playing, games like Burnout Paradise that on PC don't have wheel support? Or Hot Wheels Unleashed doesn't have wheel support. Split Second, one of my favorite games back in the day. How are you playing some of these games that obviously don't have wheel support? And the answer is very simple. Because this thing is being recognized as an Xbox controller, now a lot of these games just think your wheel is an Xbox controller. So when you press your gas pedal, it's thinking that it's the RT button on your Xbox controller, so the wheel just works. So you have an exponentially amount of new games that you can put on this build because of using this particular program. I don't know why. Maybe I just missed it on my radar and other people aren't talking about it, but I just found this out, and maybe it just missed my radar and everyone else already knows. And you guys are probably thinking, like, what are you talking about? I know this already. But yeah, now you can play all these games that I've always wanted to play on a racing wheel because of that program, and it works really well. So you would think that these games don't work really well because they're not made for wheels, but it's wrong. I'm going to give you guys the oldest one as the example here. Split Second is a game that, of course, is really old, never had wheel support, and I'm going to launch it for you right now. Alright, so here's the game launching right now for Split Second. Now, Split Second is a very, actually, peculiar game because for those of you guys who played this in the beginning, they were notorious for not letting your controllers work on the main menu. So that's why I always have these little keyboards with arcade builds, because it's always something you're going to need. But for this game in particular, even though all the other ones I have don't need this, in the main menu, you can't use the wheel to actually move around. You have to actually use the keyboard just to get to the actual gameplay. And that is not a fault of the system I just told you about, but just because this game was notorious for not letting Xbox controllers work on the main menu, which is why it still does it, because Xbox controllers had issues working back in the day as well. But I don't know how many of you guys love this game as much as I did, but I used to love this game like crazy. One of my favorite games, arcade racing games ever made, right next to Blur, which unfortunately is not on PC because it got removed from Steam and I don't own it, which sucks. But yeah, you can see here, we're getting to the main menu. So now I'm going to start using the wheel here. So I'm hitting my gas, and there you see me maneuvering this as you would expect, and it is playing perfectly fine. You can see here, I'm not having any issues with it. Now, of course, these games are not going to have force feedback on the wheel, because obviously these games weren't made with the wheel support in mind, so of course they don't have force feedback. But the fact that you can actually play these games, and I just spun out by accident because I wasn't hitting my brake, kind of goes to show you right there how much fun you can still have with these games even without that. So you can see I'm not even a pro with this yet because I literally just got this build a couple days ago. So of course, you know, I got a lot to practice with a wheel. I'm not even good with games that do support the wheel like Forza and stuff. So even with games like Forza that fully support the wheel, I still got to get better at wheels in general. But that's besides the point. I'm having a grand time here. I'm still staying on the track for a game that never supported wheels, and now you can play it. I think this is fantastic. And like I said, this is just the beginning, because there's so many games that I probably haven't even thought of that we would love to play with wheels, and now we have kind of a way to do it. Even if it's not perfect, it's really close. The only thing missing is really force feedback right now for me. But yeah, this game plays fantastic. Ooh, I almost just crashed. And this guy just sent me from behind. He's trying to take me out. We took that guy out from that power play. But yeah, you guys can see this game looks great, plays great, even though there was no wheel support, and that guy got rocked. So, you can see, fantastic stuff. Alright, so let's try another one just to show you guys. Let's go ahead and say we're going to try Hot Wheels Unleashed. Now, while that's loading up here, something I almost forgot to mention that I should definitely tell you guys, even though I said all racing games are not supported, there is one caveat with this system, and that is something you guys will probably be familiar with. So you guys are familiar with games that obviously require you to open up a map, and then you have to kind of use the thumbstick to kind of move around the map to select a point. If there's no way to use a directional pad to actually maneuver around those map points, and you need an actual analog stick to move around, obviously a wheel doesn't have an analog stick, so you'll be stuck and you won't be able to play those without grabbing a keyboard or a mouse and something. I think the first one I came across is one of the later Need for Speed games that didn't work because it required me to open up the map, and I couldn't move around the map at all with these directional buttons. I physically needed an analog stick to move around. So if a racing game has that, then what I'm talking about here won't work with that racing game. But granted, a lot of games still do, and you guys see all the games that I showed you guys on Launchbox that I have set up so far all work with this, including the new Hot Wheels Unleashed game. So in this game, everything works like an Xbox controller. It's a newer game, so obviously no mouse and keyboard is needed or anything like that. You use it just like you would anything else, and you can maneuver around. You hit the RB to scroll over. I'm going to hit Quick Race. We'll just select any of these tracks. Let's say I just hit this one. Wait for this to go. And here we are with the game. We're going to hit A to continue. Game looks great. We're ready to go. We'll see how we do. Oh, I missed the start. I forgot. Totally forgot. That was a great start. Now this game is of course a little bit harder to control because you're kind of dipping and sliding and stuff. And like I said, probably the fault of me more than the game itself because I'm still getting used to wheels in general. But it does work, and it is a lot of fun. And I have gotten a couple of first places using the wheel, granted. Doesn't mean I'm that good, but you can definitely have a lot of fun playing with this wheel just like this. Missed that corner. No, I'm gonna hit out. Ooh, almost got it. So yeah, you can see, I mean, I'm maintaining first place. The guy just took it from me, but I took it back. Oh, I messed that up. Granted, I don't know how many times you're going to be winning online with it until you get really good with this racing wheel like this, because it's going to take some practice, of course. But for the fun factor, this is definitely the way I prefer to play this game. It's so much fun to play the career like this. And I'm going to run right into that. So yeah, you guys can see all these games now are available for you to play with the way that this system is set up, and it's so much fun to discover new games to play with the racing wheel that never had intentions to actually support a wheel. This is so much fun, and something that I don't hear a lot of people talking about. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of games that you can now kind of adventure onto yourself. I have Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit, and all these other games that work on here. A lot of fun to play, and you know, you can explore and see what games work for you guys now with this new system. Retro Lizards Arcades did a great job with including the few games that he has for Windows, and all of these other games, like I said, about 140 or more, and he's always looking to add more for Teknoparrot when they release and stuff like that. So really, really exciting stuff to have all these games really easily available. And like I said, my favorite thing to play on here is definitely the Teknoparrot games, only because they're arcade games and I get to play them at home. So that's obviously exciting, and Batman's a lot of fun. So I'm going to leave you with one more gameplay video here to wrap up the video, which is going to be Batman Teknoparrot. Overall, guys, I am really, really impressed with this machine. Like I said, build quality is fantastic. From Buy Stuff Store Canada, they did a great job with the graphics on all sides. The marquee's fantastic. Everything came great. And Retro Lizards Arcade did a great job of just building it, getting it together, getting it here. The TMX wheel's fantastic with the build, with force feedback. His system works really well. Love the fact that he has XO input being worked on, so I get all these other racing games that I could add, since everything is being detected as an Xbox controller, which just makes an infinite amount of possibilities of what you can play on this machine. And I'm going to be playing them. I think this machine is going to be the new highlight of one of my machines that people are going to be playing every time they're over, and I'm so excited to finally have a sit-down arcade machine too, because you know, I've obviously shown off that I had Outrun and stuff modded, but this is what I've always wanted, a sit-down arcade machine that kind of brings me back to playing racing games in the arcade. Nice 30. I don't think I mentioned this whole entire video, but this is a 32-inch size screen that I probably should have mentioned in the beginning of the video. But really, really happy with how everything turned out. Alright, so it says press gas to start. Here's Batman. Like I said, Batman is one of my favorite games to play. You can just choose any of these missions. We'll just do the Joker.
Select your Batmobile.
You can select the Batmobile and stuff. I'm just going to let's do the Dark Knight. Now this game, some of the Teknoparrot games even have force feedback too, which is really awesome. Not all of them do, but some of them do. This happens to be one that does.
Batman, the Joker's men are transporting nuclear equipment into the city. I won't allow that, Commissioner.
Alright, so here we go. And I already can feel the force feedback on here. Feels fantastic. There we go.
I'm afraid not, Scarecrow.
All right.
Target removed. 2 remaining.
Like I said, I love the force feedback in this game. My wheel's going crazy, it's rumbling, I'm getting shot at. Wheel's going nuts,
Target
but
removed.
it's so much
1
fun.
remaining.
And there we go. We got the third one.
Threat neutralized. Mission complete.
Alright guys, so we'll leave it there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got a lot of good, useful information. I'm loving this machine. If you guys have any questions about anything that I've missed, leave that down below. If not, thank you guys for watching. Until next time.